Alright everyone, before we start today's story, if you enjoy Reddit stories like this one, make sure to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more stories like this. Now, this story comes from someone who experienced what might be one of the most embarrassing moments possible when you're living with your parents. And honestly, after reading this story, I don't know if I would ever emotionally recover. So let's get into it. The person who shared this story says they're 28 now, but this happened when they were 26. At the time, they were still living at home with their parents to save money. Which is honestly pretty common nowadays. Rent is expensive, and if you have the option to stay with family for a while and build up some savings, a lot of people do it. But living with your parents as an adult does come with one major challenge. Privacy. Their bedroom was located right off the main hallway of the house. That means anyone who came into the house and wanted to go to the kitchen, pantry, laundry room, basically anywhere else, had to walk right past their bedroom door. Normally that wasn't a big deal. But one day, that hallway location turned into the worst possible setup imaginable. It was a weekday afternoon. According to their mental schedule, their mom was supposed to be at work for several more hours. Their dad was out of town. The house was completely quiet. And when you're in your mid-20s and still living at home, you tend to become very aware of everyone's schedule. You know when people leave. You know when they come home. You know exactly when the house is empty. Or at least, you think you do. So their boyfriend had come over that afternoon. And everything seemed totally safe. The air conditioner was blasting because it was one of those hot summer days where the air outside feels like stepping into a furnace. Inside the house there was this constant white noise hum from the AC running. And that detail will become important later. Because that sound made it very easy to miss something important. Like the front door opening. So the two of them were in the bedroom just relaxing, talking, laughing, enjoying the quiet afternoon. Completely unaware that their entire sense of safety was about to disappear. At one point, they suddenly thought they heard something. Just a faint sound. A tiny creak somewhere in the house. At first, they ignored it. Older houses make random noises all the time. Wood shifts. Doors settle. Pipes click. But then they heard something else. Footsteps. And not just random movement. Clear footsteps. Coming from the front of the house. And instantly their brain started doing that thing where it tries to process information very quickly. Wait. Someone just came inside. But that doesn't make sense. Mom is supposed to be at work. Right? For a moment they froze, trying to figure out what was happening. And then they heard the sound that made their stomach completely drop. The rustling of grocery bags. And that was the moment the realization hit. Their mom had come home early. Now normally that would already be awkward. But the real problem was something else. The door. Their bedroom door wasn't completely closed. It was mostly closed. But not fully. Just slightly open. Just enough that someone walking past could see through the gap if they happened to glance inside. And unfortunately, someone was about to walk past. Their mom started walking down the hallway carrying groceries. And in one of those moments that feels like slow motion in your memory, she turned her head slightly toward the bedroom. Through that tiny crack in the door? Their eyes met. For maybe half a second. But that half second was enough. Her eyes widened instantly. The kind of wide-eyed look people get when they unexpectedly see something shocking. Meanwhile the storyteller says their brain basically shut down. Their face felt like it had instantly caught fire from embarrassment. And in that moment they knew something terrible. Their mom had absolutely seen them. There was no pretending otherwise. No confusion. No misunderstanding. Just direct eye contact. Then their mom continued walking down the hallway. And the house suddenly went completely quiet. Inside the room, the storyteller just lay there staring at the ceiling in disbelief. Their heart was racing. Their brain was replaying the moment over and over. Did that seriously just happen? Meanwhile their boyfriend was trying very hard not to laugh. Which, as you can imagine, didn't help the situation at all. A few seconds later they heard something else. The pantry door opening. And apparently the pantry door in their house had this very distinctive squeaky hinge. A sound they had heard thousands of times growing up. So when they heard that squeak, they knew exactly what was happening. Their mom was putting away groceries. Acting completely normal. As if nothing had happened. And somehow, That made the situation even more uncomfortable. Because now there was this strange silence hanging in the air. Everyone knew what happened. But nobody was acknowledging it. Inside the bedroom, the storyteller had basically curled into a ball from embarrassment. Meanwhile, the boyfriend was still trying not to laugh. Eventually they heard footsteps again. Coming back down the hallway. Closer. Closer. And then the footsteps stopped. Right outside the bedroom door. At that point the storyteller says they completely stopped breathing. They were preparing for the most awkward conversation imaginable. But instead, something completely unexpected happened. From outside the door, their mom spoke in a playful sing-song voice. "I'm not here." There was a pause. Then she said it again. "I'm not here. I'm not here." And then, even louder, "La la 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 la." The storyteller says it sounded like their mom was literally covering her ears and pretending she hadn't seen anything. Then they heard footsteps retreating down the hallway. The front door opened. Keys jingled. And the door closed. Their mom had actually left the house again. At that point the boyfriend completely lost it and started laughing. Meanwhile the storyteller says they were lying there wishing the floor would swallow them whole. Hours later their mom came back home again. Eventually the storyteller had to leave the bedroom and face the situation. They walked into the kitchen where their mom was making tea. They both froze for a moment. Then their mom casually asked, "So, how was your afternoon?" The storyteller simply said, "Good." Their mom nodded. "Good." Then after a short pause she added one final sentence. "Next time, maybe close the door." And that was the entire conversation. No lecture. No awkward discussion. Just that one comment. Now years later the storyteller says it's become one of those embarrassing memories they can finally laugh about. But at the time, they were convinced they would never emotionally recover. And honestly, I think most of us would feel exactly the same way. Because if there's one universal lesson from this story, it's this. If you live with your parents, always close the door all the way. Anyway, let me know what you think. Have you ever had an embarrassing moment like this? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Reddit stories.